Okay, let's get into it. Today, we are doing a deep dive into something that I think causes a universal sense of dread. The self-introduction.
Oh, absolutely. That moment.
That exact moment you're in a job interview, a new class, maybe a huge convention, and someone turns to you and says those terrifying words, "Tell me about yourself."
It sounds so simple, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just talk about yourself. But it's a minefield.
Yeah.
Socially, linguistically, the anxiety is huge.
Especially if English isn't your first language, or even if it is, but you're in one of those really high-stakes situations.
You are being judged instantly on everything. Your grammar, your confidence, how clearly you speak.
Exactly. And just hoping you'll be brilliant in the moment is, well, it's a terrible strategy. It usually ends in awkwardness.
It really does.
Which is why our whole mission today, based on all this great source materials we've gone through, is not just to talk about what to say. It's to build an actual blueprint.
A complete, pre-written, and this is the important part, learned blueprint.
Yes. We want to take that feeling of information overload and turn it into practical, ready-to-go sentences that you can just deploy.
And the very first takeaway, before we even start, has to be that preparation is not optional. It's essential.
Right, because you don't always get a warning, do you?
Never. A conference moderator might just point at you. An icebreaker starts out of nowhere. You have to have this in your back pocket, ready to go.
Customized for different situations, learned by heart.
That's how you turn that moment of panic into a moment of, complete control.
I love that. Turning a performance into a plan. So let's start building that plan from the ground up.
Let's do it.
So the essential foundation, where every single conversation begins. The greeting.
This sets the tone for everything that follows. And the number one rule, the one thing you have to consider, is context.
Context is king.
Absolutely king. You have to know your audience. Are you in a boardroom or are you at a casual meetup?
So on the formal end of things, what are the safe bets?
The options are pretty straightforward. Hello is your universal tool. It works anytime, any place.
Can't go wrong with hello.
And then you've got your time of day greetings. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.
Now, the sources give a really crucial warning here, and it sounds so obvious, but you have to actually look at the clock.
I was just going to say that nerves can make you do strange things.
I have absolutely done this. Stood up at a 7 p.m. dinner and confidently said, "Good morning." It throws everyone off.
It throws them off, and more importantly, it throws you off. You've created this little moment of awkwardness right at the start, which is exactly what we're trying to avoid with all this preparation.
Right.
But where it gets really interesting is when we look at some of the regional variations, specifically the case of good day.
Okay, yeah, I can see why learners would gravitate towards that one. It seems like a perfect catch-all, right? It works for any time of day.
Logically, it should. But this is where English gets a bit tricky. In standard British English, it's considered very formal.
How formal are we talking?
Almost old-fashioned.
Yeah.
A bit stilted if you use it in a normal, everyday business meeting. It's not wrong grammatically, but it might sound a little out of place.
Okay, so a bit stuffy in the UK. But what about somewhere else?
Well, this is a classic example. You go to Australia, and good day, or more likely good day,
Yeah, right.
is completely common. It's friendly, although the sources do point out it's definitely on the more informal side of things.
So this really proves the point. You have to know who you're talking to. A business meeting in London is not the place for good day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But before we move on, there is one more critical point about greetings we have to hammer home: the good night mistake.
Oh, this is a huge one. A vital correction.
It's one of the most common errors. The sources are really clear on this. Good night is a send-off. It's a farewell. It means goodbye.
It is not a greeting.
It is never a greeting. If you walk into a networking event at 9 p.m. and say good night, everyone, you've just announced your departure before you've even arrived.
Right, you're basically saying, "I'm leaving now."
Precisely. You must use good evening for any introduction at night. It's such a key detail for sounding polished.
Okay, so that's the formal pillar sorted. What about the informal side? You're in a new English class, a social club. What are the go-to options?
You got a whole menu. There's hey, what's up, hi, hiya, maybe yo, or the very American what's good.
A lot of options.
But the real insight from the sources isn't just the list, it's the rule behind choosing one.
Which is?
Choose one you're actually comfortable saying.
Authenticity. That is so important. We get so caught up in being technically correct, we forget to sound like ourselves.
Absolutely. The sources use this great example of the word yo. If you're not someone who naturally says yo, and you try to force it into an introduction because you think it sounds cool or casual,
It just feels wrong. It sounds forced.
it feels forced. And as the source put it, you feel stupid. That feeling of being inauthentic completely undermines your confidence from the very first word.
You're starting on the back foot.
Exactly. So just use a simple hi that feels natural to you. Comfort is confidence.
Okay, so we've got our greeting. The next immediate step is your name. And even this has some nuance.
It does. The basics are simple. I'm name, or the slightly more formal I am name.
But the sources point out that the context, specifically how visible you are, should change your phrasing.
Right. Think about situations where the audience can't see you. The classic one is being on the telephone.
Okay.
In that case, using my name is or my names is much better.
Why is that? What's the logic there?
It's about providing verbal context to make up for the lack of visual information.
Yeah.
You're invisible, so you're explicitly labeling the voice they're hearing with a name.
That makes perfect sense. It's a verbal signpost.
And that same logic applies in really big settings. Imagine an auditorium or a huge conference call. In those cases, the sources suggest this is name.
It feels more like a broadcast, like you're presenting yourself.
It's a clear label to cut through the noise or the distance. On the phone, you'll often hear it combined. Hi, this is name speaking. It just ensures that your name lands clearly when the audience is distracted or far away.
Okay, so we've got the greeting and the name, the first layers down. Next up, geographical anchors. Where are you from?
This is all about establishing your context in the world. And the basics are, very simple. I'm from place name.
Or using the adjective like I'm British or I'm Canadian.
Exactly. But this is where the sources give us a really nice little bit of linguistic nuance, the difference between I'm from and I come from.
Okay, I'm intrigued. They sound almost identical.
They do, but I come from subtly implies more of a journey.
A journey.
Yeah. If you just drove 10 minutes to get to the meeting, I'm from here is fine.
Yeah.
But if you flew 12 hours, say from Seoul to New York, for this event, saying I come from Seoul adds a little narrative layer. It hints at the distance you've traveled.
I like that. It acknowledges the effort. And it's a great hook for a follow-up question like, oh, wow, what brings you all the way here?
Precisely.
Okay.
It injects a bit of character. Now, if you want to talk about your upbringing, the standard phrase is, I was born and raised in place.
That's for when your birthplace and where you grew up are the same.
Correct. But so many of us have more complicated stories. People move.
Right. Maybe you were born in one country but spent your whole childhood in another. How do we handle that cleanly?
You need to be concise. The best structure is, I was born in A but raised in B. For example, I was born in Manila but raised in Vancouver. It's clean, it's clear, it tells the whole story in one sentence.
And then there's the other common scenario, where you're from versus where you live now. This is huge for professionals who've relocated.
The sources give us a couple of great options for this. The first one is a classic. I grew up in A, but now live in B.
So, I grew up in a small town, but now live in London. Simple.
The other one, which sounds a bit more professional, is I'm originally from A, but now based in B.
Yeah, that feels very corporate, very professional. I'm originally from Edinburgh, but I'm now based in London for work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Often, you want to add how long you've been there. This is where learners often trip up.
Oh, the duration mistake. I live here for 3 years.
That's the one.
Yeah.
It's a direct translation that doesn't work in English. You need to show the action is ongoing.
So what's the correct structure we need to bake into our blueprint?
It's the present, perfect, continuous. I've been living in place for time.
I've been living in Dubai for 5 years.
Perfect. It connects the past, when you moved, to the present, the fact you're still there. It's crucial for sounding natural.
Is there a slightly less specific way to say it? If you don't want to count the years?
Absolutely.
Okay.
A great natural-sounding alternative is, I've spent the past few years in place. It's a softer way to say it, and just as effective.
Fantastic. So we've anchored ourselves geographically. Now for the big one, especially in formal settings, professional identity.
This is where the stakes get really high. Job interviews, networking events. And this is where, as you said, the preposition pitfalls are everywhere.
Get these little words right, and you sound incredibly polished. Get them wrong.
And it's an immediate red flag. It signals you're not quite comfortable with formal professional English. This part needs real attention to detail.
Okay, let's start with the absolute core of it. Saying the name of your company. What are the correct prepositions?
There are two. You either work at a company or you work for a company.
Okay, so I work at Microsoft, or I work for Microsoft.
Correct.
Now, I have to ask this because it's such a common learner mistake. Why can't I say, I work in Microsoft? I am physically inside the building. It seems logical.
That is a fantastic point because it gets right to the heart of idiomatic English. While you are physically in the office, the relationship isn't with the building, it's with the corporate entity. So you work at the institution or for the organization.
Okay, so a hard and fast rule. Never use I work in with a company name.
Never. But you do use in for departments and fields.
Ah, so the preposition changes. How does that work?
You combine them. I work at company in the department. So I work at a bank in the finance department.
Right.
Or if you just state the general field, you use in. I work in marketing.
So at or for the company, but in the field. Got it. What about your specific job title, your role?
For your specific position, you need another preposition, as I work as a project manager, or I work as an accountant.
This is so specific. So it's a three-part system. At for the company, in the department, and as the role.
Exactly. And getting that sequence right is a massive signal of proficiency.
Let's put it all together. Give me a full, polished sentence with all three.
Okay. I work for a large tech company in their AI division as a senior data scientist. Each piece has its own prepositional anchor. It's perfectly clear.
That sounds impressive. Now, what about academic qualifications, especially if you're still a student?
If you're about to finish, the phrase is simple. I'm about to graduate.
And for degrees you've already completed.
You can be general. I am a history graduate, or I'm a physics postgraduate. Or if you need to be more formal, like on a resume or in an academic setting, you state the full degree.
So I have a Bachelor of Arts, a BA in English Literature.
Exactly. And the sources note that in more casual settings, you can shorten things. I'm a postgrad is fine in a university class, but you'd use the full postgraduate in an interview.
Right. Context is still king. The sources also had this fascinating little rule about courses, the difference between theoretical and practical subjects.
This is a great little detail, a real linguistic nugget. The preposition you use depends on what you're studying.
Okay, break it down for us.
For theoretical, abstract subjects, things like maths, philosophy, history, you take a course in that subject, a course in quantum mechanics.
So in for the theory, and for practical, hands-on skills.
The preposition changes to on. You take a course on something you do, a course on public speaking, or a course on pottery.
I love that. A course in knowledge, a course on application. That's a brilliant distinction.
It is. And of course, there's an easy way to avoid the problem altogether.
Which is?
Just drop the preposition. I'm taking a pottery course. Perfectly fine, grammatically safe.
And if you've completed a course, you often need to mention how long it was, like a 72-hour course. How do we structure that?
You turn the time scale into a compound adjective, a number, a hyphen, and the unit of time. So a 72-hour course, a 3-day seminar.
I've completed a 40-hour certification course.
Perfect. It's concise and sounds very professional.
Okay, last piece of the professional identity puzzle, experience. How do you summarize that quickly and effectively?
The most common corporate structure is numerical. I have number years of experience in the field.
I have 10 years of experience in sales.
Exactly. Or you can make the field an adjective. I have 10 years of sales experience. Very efficient. The alternative uses that same present perfect structure we saw earlier. I've worked in field for time.
I've worked in marketing for over a decade.
Both are perfect. They establish your credibility instantly.
Okay, we've built the formal professional core. Let's pivot now. Let's talk about the personal dimension, the informal stuff for making friends.
Right. This is where you can talk about family, hobbies, but it's also where one of the most common grammatical errors pops up.
Oh, the family size mistake. I hear this one all the time. The source has flagged it specifically.
Yes. The incorrect sentence, which is often a direct translation, is, we are 5 in our family.
It's logical if you translate it word for word from many other languages, but it just sounds off in English.
It sounds very unnatural. It's a structural giveaway.
So what are the correct, natural ways to phrase it?
You have two main options. Either I'm from a family of number or we are a family of number.
I'm from a family of 4. We are a family of 6. Simple.
It's a simple fix, but it makes a huge difference.
And what about siblings?
The neutral term is siblings. I am one of 3 siblings. Or if the context is already clear, you could even just say I'm one of 3.
And if you don't have any?
I'm an only child.
Perfect. Okay, let's move on to hobbies. This is where we want to add a bit of personality, a bit of flair. I like and I enjoy are okay, but they're a bit flat.
They're functional, but we can do better. The sources suggest 2 stronger phrases. The first is, I'm a big fan of something.
I like that. It shows real enthusiasm. So instead of, I like watching old movies.
I'm a big fan of old movies, or I'm a big fan of hiking. It just has more energy.
And second option.
Is to use keen. You define yourself by the activity. I'm a keen noun.
So I'm a keen runner. I'm a keen photographer.
Exactly. It's concise and shows a real dedication to the hobby. It's a step up in proficiency.
Finally, in the personal section, there's age. The sources say it's not always necessary, but you should know how to say it correctly.
The direct way is simple. I'm 25 years old, or just I'm 25. But often, especially in professional contexts, being a bit vague is better.
And for that, we use the decades, early, mid, or late.
Right. I'm in my early 20s, I'm in my mid-30s, and my late 40s. It's polite, it's informative, but it maintains a little bit of privacy.
And there was one other structure mentioned for describing other people.
Yes, the something structure. You'll hear people say, she's a 20-something graduate, or he's a 40-something lawyer. It's a useful descriptive tool when you don't know the exact age.
Got it. Okay, now for what might be the hardest part of the entire introduction.
Oh, I know what's going.
The dreaded fun fact.
The fun fact, it's the moment the icebreaker turns into an interrogation.
Right. You've just delivered your perfect, polished introduction, you're feeling good, and then someone says, and now share a fun fact about yourself.
And your mind goes completely blank. The pressure to be interesting on command it's intense. It's daunting.
You feel like you have to pull a rabbit out of a hat, a rabbit that perfectly sums up your sparkling personality.
Which is why the #1 non-negotiable strategy here is preparation. You must have a fun fact ready to go, up your sleeve, as they say.
So you're not trying to invent one under pressure.
Never. You should have 2 or 3 rehearsed, ready to deploy.
So what are some good categories to brainstorm from? What makes a good fun fact?
The sources give us some great starting points. You're looking for something a little bit quirky, a little surprising, so think about maybe an interesting fear,
Okay.
a weird food combination you love, a strange pet you have, some small weird achievement like winning a local pie-eating contest, or a really unusual experience you've had.
The key is that it has to be short. One sentence.
One sentence, and ideally something that's memorable.
Okay, let's model this. I'll share one of my go-to prepared fun facts.
Great idea.
Okay, so a medium formality fun fact for me is, I'm a classically trained pianist, but I can only play the theme tune to one TV show perfectly. It's a little self-deprecating, a bit surprising.
That's perfect. It's memorable, and it sparks curiosity.
Hey.
Okay, my turn. My one for a slightly more informal group is, I once entered a national competition for a new potato chip flavor, and my suggestion made it to the final round.
See, that's brilliant. What was the flavor?
That's the follow-up question it's designed to get. It was wasabi and ginger.
I would buy that. Okay, so those work. Now, the source gives an anecdote about a really extreme but very memorable example.
Ah, yes, the hypermobility one.
The person who says their fun fact is that they're hypermobile, and then to prove it, they bend their thumb all the way back to their wrist.
Or they do that slightly alarming shoulder bleed thing.
It's extreme, but you will never, ever forget that person.
And that's the point. Your prepared fact, whether it's about a piano tune or a potato chip, is designed to make you memorable. It's the final piece of polished preparation.
Okay, so we've done it. We've built all the individual perfect pieces of our blueprint. But if you just stack them all up, you hit what the source calls the flow problem.
The flow problem, yes. This is the enemy of a natural-sounding introduction. You can have 7 grammatically perfect short sentences, but if you just list them...
You sound like a robot reading a list.
Exactly, it's choppy, it's stilted.
Let's actually read out the choppy example from the source so we can hear it. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lucy. I am 24 years old. I am from Bedfordshire. I work as an English teacher. I am a marketing graduate. I'm a big fan of running and fitness classes.
You can hear that rhythm, can't you? Stop, start, stop, start. It's just a list of data points.
It's not a conversation.
Yeah.
So the final and maybe the most important step in this whole process is the condensation strategy.
Taking all those little pieces of information and weaving them together.
We want to get it down to just 2 flowing natural sentences, plus the greeting. This is where we use our conjunctions, our ands and buts, and those grammar tricks like the compound adjective.
This is the move that signals real mastery. It's showing you can handle complex sentence structures while sounding completely at ease. It's that practiced mastery disguised as spontaneity.
Okay, let's do this side by side. I'll read the condensed after version now. Notice how nothing is lost. It's just integrated.
Let's hear it.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Lucy, and I'm a 25-year-old marketing graduate from Bedfordshire. I now work as an English teacher, and I'm a big fan of running and fitness classes.
So much smoother. It's day and night.
It really is.
And let's just break down what's happening grammatically there. She didn't say, I am 25 years old, I'm a marketing graduate. She combined them into that one elegant phrase we talked about, a 25-year-old marketing graduate.
That compound adjective doing all the heavy lifting.
All of it. And then she seamlessly links her origin, Bedfordshire, with the preposition from.
And the second sentence connects her past, the degree, with her present job using I now work as.
And then a final and tax on the personal interests. It's efficient, it's fluid, and it's incredibly effective.
7 choppy sentences become basically 2 flowing ideas. The exact same information delivered with so much more confidence and style.
That's the goal. That's the final step. It's not just knowing the pieces of the puzzle. It's knowing how to fit them together so you can't see the seams.
So after this whole deep dive, what have we given our listener? We started with that dreaded question, tell me about yourself. And now you have a full blueprint.
A blueprint for any situation. The formal interview, where you need to nail those prepositions at a company, in a field, as a role.
Or the informal meetup where you need to get the family structure right, talk about your hobbies with flair, and have that fun fact ready to go.
This is all immediately usable.
Yeah.
So we really encourage you, take these structures we've talked about and draft your own version. Write out your 2-sentence masterpiece.
Personalize it, practice it, learn it by heart until it feels completely natural, until the words just feel like your own.
You now have the tools to take what was a moment of stress and turn it into a chance to sound incredibly proficient and confident.
It's about demonstrating real fluency, not just textbook knowledge.
And just to leave you with one final thought to mull over, based on all this, we've spent this entire time talking about intense, meticulous, word-for-word preparation.
Right, down to the fun fact.
And yet, a recurring theme was the need to sound authentic and comfortable, to avoid language that feels forced. So here's the question. If the goal is to seem spontaneous and natural, how does this deep, rigorous scripting change our idea of what spontaneity actually is? Is true naturalness something that happens in the moment? Or is what we perceive as naturalness actually just highly, highly practiced mastery that's so good it looks easy? Something to think about as you go off and rehearse your own flawless script.
That is a fantastic point to end on. Thank you for taking this deep dive with us. Now go out there and introduce yourself with total confidence. You're ready.